This week saw an epic battle between two of the most unlikely foes. On the one hand, you have the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And on the other hand, you have fans of K-pop, Korean pop. Fans of K-pop are often called stans, for those playing at home. But they went to war on the internet, and the result was unusual. To explain what all that means, we have Angharad Yeo. She is from Good Games Spawn Point, a gaming and technology journalist, and from Startup Oz, the CEO, in fact, of Startup Oz, Alex McCauley joining us as well. All right, Angharad, I'm going to start with you. Exactly what happened?
So Trump was holding a rally, a campaign rally, the first since the pandemic has kind of all kicked up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it's a ticketed event where you can go online to the campaign site and basically request a free ticket. And a TikTok user by the name of Mary Jo Lorp encouraged everybody to go on and basically request tickets that they don't intend to use to prevent the tickets from getting in the hands of people that actually want to go. This got taken on by K-pop stans, and they basically overrun the website with requests for tickets. There were reportedly over 1 million requests, and this in itself would be an issue in terms of campaign and voter numbers, which we can talk about later. But the real kicker for me is that Trump went ahead and assumed that those numbers were legitimate. In some ways, I feel like you can probably tell that if you get 1 million respondents to a rally in a place like Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's probably not legit, but he was very, very proud of himself that he was going to get this amount of people in. And what happened was about 6,200 people turned up.
Right. So, Alex, I feel weirdly compelled to play devil's advocate on this because it's like we've talked a lot about mob rule on the internet being a bad thing in the past. This is still kind of a version of that, isn't it? But just maybe for a world leader that is less popular.
Yes, it's sort of that, but actually there's this real, I think, sense of joy that actually young people have suddenly got a tool in their hands to fight back against, political movements that they see that they don't have much control over. And so I think there's this positive thing that is flowing around the internet about it because suddenly there's some levers available to young people to kind of make a difference, have a say, kind of disrupt something that they see as being hugely damaging but don't have much kind of influence over. So I think there's that positive element. The bit that strikes me actually as maybe not the best is if I'm these guys organising this thing, I play it slightly differently after the rally has happened because, your point here is to try and upset Trump, right? To damage him psychologically, to make him upset. And Trump's the kind of guy that loves to be loved, but he doesn't mind being hated. So if he goes to a rally where he expects maybe 1 million people to turn up or a big number anyway, and there's no one there, that's really damaging. That's these people that are supposed to love him actually didn't bother showing up. But if he later realizes that it's actually a bunch of haters who have kind of managed to disrupt his plans, I think that doesn't affect him as much. And of course, it means that it's harder to do it next time. So you didn't see the Russians kind of laying claim, taking credit for tipping a lot of swing state votes in the lead up to the last election. And probably if you want to be really effective on TikTok doing this through Trump's campaign, you probably shouldn't take credit for doing it this time.
I love that your take is like they should be more chill. Like they should do it and not crow about it, which is like the antithesis, I think, of like TikTok. Like everything's performative. I mean, that's not unique to TikTok, mind you. That's like social media. Everything's performative on social media. But there is something about the idea of them doing a thing and not claiming credit for it afterwards, Rad, that I can't ever see that happening. Maybe I'm naive.
Well, it's obviously very organized, but I don't necessarily know that it's that well thought out that they would just not say anything, because it's more like, millions of kids who see something that somebody that they know posts that are like, I'm going to get in on that too. It's, I think, very reactionary and very quick. It's not somebody sitting down and going, okay, we're going to make a organized campaign in order to humiliate Trump. It's just a bunch of kids being funny on the internet in a way that other people don't understand.
It feels like you could get brownie points from a community, the online community in particular, just for claiming credit for something like this. But I'm just wondering, is there a way of actually verifying whether this movement was responsible for doing what they're now being credited with?
Potentially, if you had the data of the people that signed up, like the names and emails of signups, and you could corroborate those against Twitter accounts who have said that they were going to do that, I think it might be quite difficult for someone on the outside to verify exactly if that is the case. But I feel like there's a pretty good correlation which suggests causation from the amount of people saying these things and what we've seen K-pop stans in particular do in the past and the results that we've seen.
Alex, do you ever worry about the knock-on effects of these sorts of tit-for-tat online wars?
It's very clear that people right across the political spectrum are prepared to use the internet and use it in different ways to achieve political results. And that was really, really clear in 2016 with all the Cambridge Analytica stuff and the Facebook ads taken out, not just by campaigns, but by foreign state actors. What this election is going to look like in the US is anybody's guess, but this is a taste of some of the kind of inventive ways that people are going to, I guess, weaponize bits of the internet to try and get political results. So I think everyone's going to be really vigilant of that, and democracy looks totally different as a result.
There is lots more of this in the podcast. If download this show, we're also talking about whether or not Apple have announced anything interesting this week. Plus, Twitter want to hear your voice. You can find the details of that on the Download This Show podcast. See you guys.